What's up, guys? F5 Spartan here. Today we're going to be telling a story time from a couple months ago. I'm also joined by F5 Icy.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
He's here. We also have another member in here, but I don't think you can hear him because he doesn't really want to talk because he doesn't have a mic right now. He currently broke his mic and he doesn't have any earbuds.
He threw it at the wall.
because He doesn't have any earbuds. He threw it at the wall. So today we're going to be telling a story about a relationship that happened within the F5 walls. So we're gonna call the boy Jack, and we're gonna call the girl Lil Pump. We're gonna call her Lil Pump. One night, I'm in a Xbox party with Lil Pump and Jack. We're playing some Fortnite. This is when Fortnite was still popular. I think it was season 6.
I thought it was
like they're talking and just hanging out, playing some Fortnite. Just like she was like, "Oh yeah, I know you. You go to my school. You have glasses." And stuff like that. Oh yeah, like who are you again? She said she was popular, and we later found out that she was literally about as popular as the mop that the janitors used. Also,
Or, like, I had no idea
a lot
who
of
she
funny
was.
moments after their breakup that I will be telling you about. It all started the next day when I joined their Xbox party, and Jack was like, "Oh yeah, bro, like me and Lil Pump are dating now," and I'm like, "Oh, that's great." I'm thinking it's gonna be like a couple week thing, and they're just gonna break
Lil
up.
Pump.
So, nope, turns out it was about 6 months of hell. We're
Every day.
thinking, like, great. Nobody likes her, and nobody has the balls to tell Lil Pump that nobody likes her. Me, being the Spartan boy I am, I go, "Hey, I don't even like that you're dating Jack." And she goes, and she literally flips out. She flips out. She's like, "Why would you say that? I mean, like, I was messing around one night. I was bored and it was late. And I'm like, I'm so happy that you and Jack are dating. I'm like, I'm happy that he finally found somebody that he actually likes." And she's like, "Oh, that means so much." A couple weeks later, yeah, I didn't mean any of that. Just saying. So it's okay.
Oh
So I'm
my
gonna fast
God.
forward, and it's like, so this is like 2 days later. She got her Xbox taken away because she failed like all of her classes in school. Here we are. She calls him every couple hours, and like one time he missed a call from her because he was doing something with me. We were hanging out, like we were outside playing soccer and playing some basketball and just like in the pool and stuff. We were having like an outdoors kind of afternoon. She literally kept spamming him with calls because she thought he was cheating on him. She thought he was cheating on her. I don't know what the hell I was saying. Now we have to explain to her that I was outside hanging out with him all day because his parents like wouldn't let us play Xbox. We're hanging out, just playing some Xbox that night. Now it's getting kind of late. Everybody has to get off. So like, okay. So she gets off too, and it's me and F5 Ace in a party. And we're like, I hate that they're together. They're so annoying. Like, she calls him every couple hours, and it's like it takes away from his gameplay and stuff like that. Long story short, we weren't happy with her. Nobody was, actually. Eventually, they're like, "Oh yeah, we're taking a break. It's only a temporary break for like not even a week." He's like, "Oh yeah, when we got done with that, like she ran up and gave me the biggest hug when we were done with that." I'm like, "Oh dude, that's cute." Secretly, I muted my mic and I said, honestly, he probably didn't even like it. A couple weeks later, it's Christmas. I come down. I'm in the car because we're going to do like this family thing at a mall. I'm like, "Is she coming with us?" And he's like, "Yeah, she's coming." And I'm like, "That's great." So we're hanging out at the mall. It's like, okay, we're done. It's time to go back home to New York. I live in New York. They live in Tennessee. I go back to New York. A couple weeks later, I hear him say, "Yeah, we broke up." And I go, "Finally, dude. Literally nobody liked her." And it's like, "Yeah, I know. Honestly, I didn't really like her that much either." I was like, "That's great." And now school started again. Everybody was hoping that she went to another school. Literally nobody wanted to go to school with Lil Pump. Couple days ago, she's in school. It's Ruthless, Ace, Icy, and Envy. They were all there. Jack, he was hanging out with them that day. She hides behind a vending machine. Because she doesn't want to get seen by the other 4 and then Jack. Story number 2. I got into a fight 5th grade year, like couple weeks before school ended. Like me and this kid,
5th grade.
we were friends. Like one day he was like, "Dude, why are you disrespecting my family? I can't believe you like said that shit about my brother." And I'm like, "I haven't even talked to your brother in like a couple of weeks. Like, what are you talking about?" He's like, "You know what you did. You know what you did." I'm like, "I don't know what I did." "You know what you did." I'm like, "I don't know what I did." He literally kept saying that. I'm like, "I don't know what I did." Like a couple hours go by, and then he comes up to me again. He's like, "You know what you did at this point?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Are you stupid or are you retarded?" I'm like, "I don't know, what am I?" And he goes, "Oh, now you just picking for a fight." And I'm like, okay, yep, you swing first. And he's like, I will. You step out in the hallway right now and I'll swing. I'm like, not good. And he's like, oh, so you a pussy?
Literally
I'm like,
freaking. Oh
no.
my God.
And then he stands up and he's like, who's the one that's gonna pick the first punch now? I'm like, well, obviously you. I'm literally sitting in my seat, so we had to move around the school in 5th grade to get used to going to 6th grade. He's like, you want to step outside and fight? And our math teacher comes over and she's like, what's the problem here? Because if there's a problem, and she looked at me and said, so are you the one who's doing all this? I'm like, no. She's like, so what's the problem then? I'm like, he's trying to fight me because apparently he was messing around with his brother and picking on his family. And she's like, oh, do you need me to send you down to the principal's office? I'm like, no, I'm good. And I just sit back down and I continue watching the movie because she was letting us watch a movie that day. It's like we go to lunch, we do everything we have to do in lunch, we eat. So he gets in trouble in lunch class because he's like actually a freaking prick. We're cool now, we talk a little bit. Like it's our last thing of the day that we have to go to. It's ELA because the way that our things were, we'd have social studies and science in the same room, and then we'd like all go to lunch and then go to ELA. And we'd go to like our special because they made us do like typing and library and stuff like that. We finished math, like he literally, we don't sit next to each other, so he couldn't like talk to me or distract me or anything that day. So in the hallway, I'm talking to one of my friends, but we're walking back to our homeroom so we can get ready to go to our special, which I think it was art that day. Actually, I specifically remember it was art. We were getting ready to go in to our classroom. We're at the water fountain. She looks at me and then looks over at him and she's like, oh, and she just like, and she starts walking faster. Then he stops and he tries to get behind me so he can trip me. And so when he tries to, like, he put his foot around my foot to try to trip me, like, because he's a bitch and he has to fight that way. Now he tried to trip me. I turn around, I throw my stuff against the wall, and it made a loud noise, which I shouldn't have done because then a teacher came over. I have him in a headlock, and I pull him to the ground. I started punching the living shit out of this kid. I'm like beating the shit out of him. Here comes my best friend's mom down the hallway, like sprinting to try to break up the fight. And she pulls me off of him, and I go, oh, who's the one that, like, I don't know, I don't remember what I said. I know, all I remember saying is, now who's the one, and that's all I can remember from that, because it was like 4 years ago. Actually, it was 3 years ago. I'm in the office right now, and I'm sitting in a corner, and one of the secretaries is like, oh, what'd you do? I'm like, somebody was trying to fight me, and he tried to trip me, so I pull him to the ground and punch him in the fucking stomach in the face. And she's like, oh, so technically it's self-defense then. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, you shouldn't get in too much trouble. And so now I'm listening to our principal talk about this, like from the phone, because I can hear her, because our principal was a loud-ass talker. I hear the principal go, I'm gonna call him Mexican Mike. Mexican Mike, such a great kid. I don't want to have to expel him, so I'm just gonna give him a couple days of ISS. You know, this isn't that bad, you know. I mean, he really didn't do anything to instigate the fight. He would, like, the kid that beat him up was just very, like, not having a good day. I'm like, okay, that's total bullshit, and I say that literally in front of the secretary. And I told her the full story, and she's like, yeah, I honestly personally believe your story, but we're in there. So she calls me, and she's like, you, come here. You need to go to the nurse. I'm like, why would I need to go to the nurse? I won the fight. She's like, well, it's just cautionary she literally couldn't pronounce protocol. She was like, protocol. She's like, so it was funny because she's like protocol. Like it was funny listening to her. 3 people are in the office at this point. She's like, so I've heard both of your sides of the story because I told her my side of the story and what actually happened. This kid's like story that he said. Just randomly, he pulled me to the ground and started punching me because I was like talking to my friend in the hallway, and I go, pull up the security camera tapes. That's not what happened. And so they reviewed the security camera tapes. It was my story over his. My story was true, and she's like, okay, well, since you were doing the most damage in the fight, is what she told me, we're gonna have to give you 1 day of ISS, which we'll give you, or 1 day of OSS, which we'll give you that tomorrow, so that way you can have a nice 3-day weekend. I'm like, I'm not complaining. I told my mom the story of what happened. And so she's like, oh, okay, yeah. And I asked my mom if I can play in my baseball game. She's like, yeah, you can probably play in the baseball game tonight. So I'm like, it wasn't that bad. But literally, they gave him like 2 days. They gave him 1 day of ISS. Oh, I don't know why I said 2. They gave him 1 day of ISS, and it's like they give me OSS. I'm like the school system in New York's bullshit. Long story short, I got a nice 3-day weekend. Got to play in my baseball game. That's my story of when I got into a fight when I was in 5th grade. That's the story. Be sure to like and subscribe to the video if you enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe to F5 Icy and Fam5. And we'll see you in the next video.